Using OpenAI Codex for doing comprehensive code review. I'm using the web-based version of Codex that is being pointed directly to a repository on GitHub. This is one of my old projects that I have also used to test out other AI coding assistants, such as GitHub Copilot. Now, using the web-based version is very convenient since there's no IDE needed or no plugins are needed. There's no need to open tools such as VS Code. The code review can be initiated directly from the Codex web chat. Here's the source code that I'm going to be code reviewing. I have it open in Visual Studio just for clarity. I have previously completed a strict review in GitHub Copilot, and it is a very good idea to provide your own coding conventions and a custom benchmark. AI will need a lot of guidance in pointing their review to a very specific benchmark or standard. So simply giving a one-line prompt for AI, telling it to just code review, especially when the code base is relatively large, that's not going to be the best use of time. Architecture and how the solution is arranged, usually those are key items to be scoring, and that's where AI tends to have the most difficult time. So here's the first lazy one-liner version of prompting Codex to complete the code review, and it can point to issues only at a code level. So problems such as static classes and maybe how the data access can be improved. It didn't give a score because there was no benchmark given, and this review took just under 4 minutes. Now, in the much more detailed code review, here's the scorecard in the template. Codex must review this legacy code against a strict benchmark. I'm pointing or guiding the AI to very specific areas and have placed very specific weights for each section. Codex will start the code review, and about 5 minutes later, the review is completed. So now, just going through what this review is saying, starting off with the executive summary. To be honest, I feel as though AI is cheating here because on the README file on the actual repository, the README file goes into detail explaining what the code is about. So I'm not sure if Codex just simply glanced through that README file and then put a little spin on it. Reading through the rest of this summary, there's too much fluff, and it doesn't summarize all the main issues that it went through in the actual review. Now, moving on to the core review itself, which has got different categories of scoring, the final verdict is 50 out of 100, which I feel is a little bit too high. Solution architecture is given 62, and again, this is completely wrong. My legacy code doesn't have any modern architecture. The solution, yes, it does have separate projects and it can give the impression of being properly structured, but in fact the database is at the core of the application, meaning just in modern terms this is going to be a big anti-pattern. So this legacy code or code base or solution isn't really following any modern architecture or something that you could point out as being well put together. To explain this anti-pattern very briefly, this entire application is directly coupled to Entity Framework. The domain project are indirectly coupled to this data project. The score should be something like 10 for architecture, not 62. So 62 is a little bit too high. Then moving on, there are tests in the solution, but these are only end-to-end tests, and they're not actually testing the core domain or logic. So the testing pyramid is not being followed, and the actual score for testing I feel should be about a 5. Programming should also be a little bit of a fail, because the domain logic is mostly static classes. So all in all, the code review, I really feel this is not good. To be fair to OpenAI Codex, code reviews for large solutions can be quite hard, and I've seen this similar pattern for most other AI models, meaning that at this stage, all of them seem to only manage programming or just reviewing a single class. They can only review at that sort of level. If you ask the AI to sort of look at a bigger picture, they're not able to review the entire architecture. But I'm even more surprised, even after I've provided OpenAI Codex with a very detailed guide and a scorecard, but still it managed to give this review a very, very high score. So it looks like it wasn't very strict enough. My verdict at this stage on Codex's code review, I would say consider using a different model if you want a code review. Perhaps models from Anthropic are still in the lead when it comes to complex code development tasks.